What's up guys, it's Matt with BleepinJeep.com. Do you know what this is? It's the factory shift link to get your Jeep into four-wheel drive, and today we're going to get rid of it, so stay tuned for that. So, why would you want to get rid of this lovely piece of work, you may ask? Well, if you're like many of the other Jeep owners out there, you'll know that this thing is a piece of junk. For one, it can lock up on you. Sometimes you can't get your shifter to work right. Sometimes it'll come out of adjustment. And sometimes you just can't get it into four-wheel drive. It's a piece of junk. In my case, I've got a Cherokee, but if you have a TJ and you go to add a body lift, this thing gets cocked at a strange angle like this and it really starts to bind up. With the cable link, you don't have to worry about that problem. So today, we've got a Novak Conversions shifter for you. It's a cable actuated unit, and we're going to get rid of this piece of junk for good. So here's what you'll get in the kit. You get a cable, 2 metal brackets, hardware, and some instructions. Now you don't have to remove the factory cross member, but one of the first things it says in the instructions is that you can do that to gain more access and more clearance and working room to get to everything you need to do. So I would recommend doing that, but when you do remove that cross member, make sure that you support the transmission very well with a jack stand, not just a jack, because that thing can come down on your head and they are not light. Now I also don't have the transfer case in here at the moment. You won't need to pull yours obviously, but I just had mine out for another project and figured I would leave it out because it'll allow you to see what I'm doing a little bit better, but we'll need to put that back in just a minute here. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove all of this stock bracketry here. This is the shifter mechanism for the stock transfer case, and it normally goes up in this little ball right here, so you can unbolt these bolts, unbolt these, and basically you're just going to pry these off. Let's see if I can do that. Yep, pry it off just like that. There's a little piece of plastic or rubber in here. We'll need to get that out. You can cut that out or pull it out with some pliers. And then we'll go up to the top and remove the bolts to get this bracket off. Get out of there. Hey, that actually worked really well. Now if you look close, we also need to remove this bracket right here. It's actually on the transmission. Now when your transfer case is in here, there are some studs that go through here. You'll need to remove the nuts. They look like this on the back of those studs, and just these two spots right here and right here, and then those are 9/16, and then this one is 1/2 inch right here, and then this bracket will fall off. Now if you can't get to those top nuts, especially that one up there, the trick is to lower the transmission down. Let it rest on the engine mounts and lower the transmission and transfer case down a little bit back here, and that'll give you plenty of room to get a wrench up in there. Now to get this guy out, you'll need to pull your carpet back, and right here on the tunnel you'll find these 4 bolts. You'll need to take those off. Then that bracket should pull right off of the bottom. Now we can get to installing the real deal. The next step is to find this bracket right here. You're going to take the provided rubber nut certs and we're going to stick them through these holes in this bracket. You kind of got to twist them through there, but you'll end up with 4 of them that look like this. And then we're going to take this and put it on the underside of the Jeep. I believe it's orientated just like this. And then we're going to hold that in with these provided Allen bolts. So I'm going to need to have somebody hold this on the bottom, or I can use some tape to hold it in place while I come up top and mount this. At least that's what the directions say. In my case, I've got long enough arms I can just hold it from both sides. But I think it helps that this Jeep is cut apart. Now I'll just tighten these down snug with an Allen wrench. The directions say to leave about 5 or 6 threads sticking out on the opposite side, or 1.2 foot-pounds. Next we're going to replace the stock selector shaft with the new one that's provided in the kit. Now the directions say to put it in two-wheel drive high, so that should be towards the front of the vehicle all the way as far as it'll go. Of course when you try to loosen it, it's going to want to come loose, so either put it back or just hold it in place. So you'll see there's a certain way that this goes. Need to make sure to get the new one in the right position. And the washer and the nut. Now this other bracket goes somewhere right about here, but before I can put that on, I need to install it back in the vehicle where it belongs. Check it out. I've rocked the transmission back a little bit just to make it easier for you guys to see. So what we're going to do is take this bracket. If you haven't already, take those bolts, those two bolts, or nuts actually, off of there. And we're just going to put this over and put the nuts back on. Okay, let's see if you guys can make all this stuff out. This is the shift lever, or the four-wheel drive selector up top. Here's the one bracket, here's another bracket, and here is the lever on the transfer case that shifts it into four-wheel drive. Basically, what we're going to do now is take that cable, it's going to come off of here, through this hole, and then it's going to make a loop through this hole and attach to this selector. Let's grab that cable. Now you're going to take your cable, as far as I can tell both ends are the same. You're going to take the nut off of the far end here in one of the washers. Now put this nut right in the middle of its range, and we're going to slide this through the hole in this top bracket up here. Ugh, I can't reach it. Okay. Now we're going to slip the washer and the nut back on the other side. Not going to tighten that just yet. Okay, now you're going to make sure that your shifter is in two-wheel drive high. And then we're going to put this piece on right here. I'm going to go about halfway down. Take that nut off the end, we're going to put it through. It's going to come in from the body side towards the middle. And then put that nut on and we'll tighten it up. The wrenches for that are a 1/2 inch and 3/8. Alright, once you get that snug, make sure that it's still in two-wheel drive. Then we'll tighten up these up here. These are 15/16. Now we'll take the other end, we'll bend it around and stick it through this hole and put the washer and the nut in again. Now this side gets a clevis, so make sure that the length is going to be just about right here, which it is. And then we're going to tighten these real quick. And now we can spin this nut down and attach the clevis on here. Now once again, make sure your transfer case is in too high. That's very important. And then we're going to sight this until we can get this clevis pinned through. So make some turns inward or outward until it lines up. You don't want any tension on here, so it just needs to line up perfect. I think one more turn ought to do it. Right there. Now we're going to put the little cotter pin in, bend it back, and then we're ready to check. Make sure everything works good. I'm going to go up top. You let me know if that moves. Alright guys, before we finish up and tighten these jam nuts up, bottom and top, we need to check and make sure that everything is good. So right now we're in 2-wheel drive high. In my case it's easy to check because my drive shafts aren't attached, but you can also lift up the vehicle on jack stands and turn the drive shafts, which would turn the wheels. So in 2-wheel drive high, this one is in neutral, this is the front, and the rear is locked with the transmission. Now let's move it to the next position and see. Alright, so that should be 4 high, so now this one should be locked with the transfer case along with the back one. The next position up is neutral, so now we should have everything flowing freely. The transfer case is in neutral, not attached to the transmission. And that last one should be 4 low. So this one and the back one should be both not able to move once again. So everything is perfect. Now we can tighten this down. Now if you need to, you can lengthen that by undoing the clevis, lengthening the shaft a little bit, in which case it'll just push this, allow this pin to go a little further back. If you need to shorten it, you can go the opposite way, right here, by turning it the other direction. You can also adjust those larger nuts that we did earlier to move the cable, the entire cable, back and forth. Shorten it, lengthen it, whatever you need to do to make it work. But for me, I don't need any adjustment. The directions say you shouldn't need any adjustment unless just something was out of whack for some reason or another. So for right now, I just need to tighten up these jam nuts on both ends. Now once I tighten those up, all we need to do is put everything back together. I think you can manage that by yourself. I need to put drive shafts back on and mount all this stuff back up. But just put it back together the way you found it, and you'll be all done. Alright guys, check this out. It's going to take me a long time to relearn how to shift this thing, because before I would really have to manhandle that thing. Now I can use 2 fingers to move that around. So much easier. We've got 2 high, 4 high, neutral, 4 low. So much nicer now. Alright guys, so if you are interested in one of those cable shifters for your Jeep, they make them for Cherokee, TJ, all kinds of other stuff too. Check out Novak Conversions. I'll leave a link down in this description below. They also make all kinds of stuff like adapter plates and all kinds of transmission and transfer case stuff. So check them out, Novak Conversions. Also, check out my website, BleepinJeep.com. You can find shirts like that, all kinds of other great stuff right there, BleepinJeep.com. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.